Well, I think my biggest obstacle in undergraduate school was not being an out lesbian. And as a result of that, it just really took so much energy to not talk about my relationship, not talk about what I did in the evenings or weekends, and really sort of to guide conversations in a way that I didn't really out myself. And so that was while I was an undergraduate at Widener University. And then as I moved on to work, my graduate work at Temple, it was much easier because I was out to most of my family and friends and as well as fellow students and colleagues. And then, it was such a great opportunity actually doing my doctoral work in human sexuality at Widener, where all of my experiences in the LGBTQ community really allowed me to sort of, share a lot in class and just talk a lot about my experiences and as I kind of traveled through my educational career.
I think for me it's somewhat the same. It's, balancing when one, coming out as a process, it starts with you. And I think getting comfortable with who I was as a younger person, and then here at the judiciary and any other work that I've had over the last almost 30 years. It's just that balance of when you're comfortable, when you know that you need to use who you are and the power of who you are as any human being, but then also measuring when it could be a discomfort or a danger for you, as some people have to measure. So I think in that journey and coming to the judiciary, it's just that balance of being able to have that moment when you can be you, but also having that moment when you need to use the inner power, but not obviously use certain aspects about yourself directly.
My educational journey was, I think, juxtaposed to yours, Dr. Matthews, because I went back to finish my undergraduate degree as an adult in my late 20s. And I was in an environment where there were many out faculty members or allied faculty members, and actually academic affairs administrators too. So there was a different culture where it was very much not just safe, because we actually avoided the notion of safe space, but there was an invitation to be open about who you were, or for questioning students just to understand the scope of sexual orientation and gender identity as a component of identity. That people grow up and you kind of, many cisgender people, they assume their gender identity, they don't think much about it. Right. For people who are not white, they're often very aware of their race and or ethnicity. But sexual orientation and gender identity is something you don't really think about much necessarily, right, unless you happen to be part of the LGBTQ community and you're either figuring yourself out or navigating a world in which you have to figure out, like you said, how do you share those parts of yourself and in ways that are both self-affirming and also to the benefit of the wider community.
I think it's important to understand when one takes on a career where one is working. So this is the judicial system, it is the state court. So I think that awareness of the environment that I'm stepping into, it is a legal system. I think that's paramount in making those choices. I think my life has spoken to me, the confidence one has to have to stand up every day, and that goes for many people. All these things are connected. We look at them kind of separate sometimes. But whether you're talking about LGBT issues, women's issues, race issues, cultural issues, ethnicity issues, they're all connected. So I think the individual has to stand up and have a strength about who they are. I think there is a more social ease today because of the law changes. So, when I know I'm protected, that helps. And this system does honor that protection. So I think that's key for someone knowing coming in. We've all spoken to education and training opportunities, the administration taking these issues on and opening the door for opportunities to educate and train others. So I think those things tell someone that this is a place, if one is interested in working with the courts or a legal career, this is a place to come. This is a place to seek out opportunities.
I would probably say, welcome. And David, that's really well said. And this is a place that is works on inclusivity and fairness. And if you're seeking a career that's attached to the courts and in the legal system, that we do a pretty good job here. For the most part, it's not without its bumps. At times, as you mentioned earlier. But bumps that are not insurmountable, which that you can really actually work towards, moving through, and there's a lot of support to do that.
I think the one thing that stands out for me is that the public sector is a career choice for me, and if people are inspired to do that, they should definitely look at the judiciary as a potential employer. The second is, I think, mentoring and being mentored. I mean, I've been fortunate throughout my life to be both formally and informally mentored, coached, inspired by people. And I know that I speak for the three of us that we're happy to do the same for others.
Oh, absolutely.
And to continue to being an internal resource to people across the judiciary as we can be of service in this regard. I think most importantly, and I think this resonates with what you've both said, is be true to your internal passion. I was thinking about this morning that one of the best career advice snapshots I ever received was from someone who rescues whales for a living.
Oh.
And I was very passionate about that issue. And at the time I confided to him that I was thinking, I was going back to school and that I would pursue a degree in marine biology, but I didn't know how I was going to do. And he said, step back a minute. He said, the skill that is your asset, whether it be accounting, writing, speaking, you can use that to contribute to any issue or system that you're passionate about, so there's not a single path. And I think the three of us in the career paths we have reflect that in terms of how to have a career in the judiciary if you're not a licensed or practicing attorney.
Exactly.
So
Well
I'm
said.
grateful for my public sector opportunities and look forward to many more years.
Absolutely.
New Jersey, I think most people know, has a strong heritage, and it really is a heritage and a legacy of being at the forefront of access and fairness before that was even a term of art in our profession. I mean, when you look back at what Chief Justice Wilentz led nationally in terms of the Task Force on Gender, the Task Force on Minority Concerns, both of which became institutionalized standing Supreme Court committees, Chief Justice Poritz picked up on that legacy when she created the Task Force on Lesbian and Gay Issues in the courts. And that committee, that task force, did a similar evaluation about perceptions, experiences, etc. We have seen more and more integration of awareness of sexual orientation and gender identity access issues through the updating of EEO policy each time that the law against discrimination is expanded by the legislature. The judiciary immediately has adjusted the EEO non-discrimination policy. But it goes beyond that, because it's not just non-discrimination in terms of what you can't do. It's about a culture of diversity and inclusion and incorporating the richness of who everyone is in the organization.
I think the change in societal perceptions, often, the forefront coming from change in law, as New Jersey did in 2007 with the New Jersey law against discrimination and changing what we would protect in the state of New Jersey, helps often in all environments. I concur that the administrations here have quickly integrated and brought to, I've been doing diversity training and cultural training for over 25 years. I think we've done some excellent work here. It's like many things. Does it cure everything? No. There's a lot of unconscious bias that occurs in day-to-day activity. However, I think that education and training opportunity gives people the moment to be enlightened, to see things differently. And that's the hope, that they'll take that education moment, go back into the workplace and use that tool, use that ability to see someone in a different light.
And I think for me with drug court, we have a drug court conference where I've given trainings to the drug court staff on LGBT issues in drug court, and they've just been incredibly well attended. After the workshops, judges and attorneys would come up to me and say, oh, it's great, now I have a language I can use when I'm on the bench or when I'm interacting with our clients. as well as probation officers saying, yeah, now I feel a little bit more comfortable in meeting with my clients and talking about whatever issues they have in their lives. And so it's really been very effective.
Yeah, there's a couple of specific things, and you two can speak to this as well. We participated with Liz Domingo and her probation division to design a transgender workshop specifically for probation, different from the one I've been doing. I've been doing kind of Transgender 101. This was specific to their job duties, how they interact with a client, collecting specimen, all those things that they do day to day. So when I read that question, the thing that came to me was the depth of training and opportunity we have here. This system offers a lot of education and training from outside sources and from within. We've all conducted training sessions. This particular topic is LGBTQ. It could be any topic. The depth of the diversity work goes on and on and on. Yeah. As I often tell people, it can't be a box. You can't go to one class and check off and I'm done with diversity. It's every day. So do you have a comment about?
Yeah, I just wanted to segue off that I think that shows a very proactive conscientiousness on the part of judiciary leadership in terms of continuing the work, that the work is never finished, and that there's always a new group of employees to be trained or a new set of circumstances that you want those who provide direct service to be aware of. So I think that continues too at the vicinage level. I know through Minority Concerns, Vicinage 13 has an annual community education program. And picking up on one of the recommendations from last term, they actually offered the first judiciary public education seminar that I'm aware of on LGBTQI youth issues. So we also see it in terms of making that information accessible to attorneys who come to court, to others, service providers, like you said, through drug court, et cetera. So it's an issue in which we're engaging, not just in isolation, but in that context, intersectionally looking at race and gender and sexual orientation together and the way they intersect.